Jules, how easily swayed could the fans be? Because they obviously will play a big part in this. So I imagine the club were quite surprised just about how extreme the reaction was to Neymar at the weekend.
Yeah, I don't know if they were that surprised. I mean, we all knew something was going to happen, and it was very, very unlikely that they would have banners with love hearts for Neymar after everything that happened this summer. And yet the club didn't do anything. They didn't reach out to the ultras. They didn't try to to mellow everything down, to calm everything down. They didn't try to have a chat with the ultras saying, okay, let's keep the banners, the insults and the banners, under the desk for now, and then let's see maybe later. They didn't do any of that. So maybe in a way they thought, you know what, let's see what the ultras do. And if it's bad towards Neymar, then that's the way it is. And it will serve us maybe. I don't know. It's an interesting one. Because I agree with Stevie. In a way, if you look at it, there's no way back. The fans, especially the ultras, are not going to forgive that easily the things he said, the things he did, and the fact that he wants to leave, so early in a way in his contract, and clearly, putting a lot of dirt on the club and on the fans. So, but again, if he's there and has to stay and has to play, it's not in the ultras' interest to, for him not to enjoy his football and not be at his best. That wouldn't serve Paris and the fans at all either. So it's a very complicated situation, and I agree with the boys. The easiest way for everyone, Neymar, PSG, and whoever buys him, is that this gets sorted quickly.
It won't, though.
The supporters are not stupid. In fact, that if he scores a couple of goals against, weaker teams in France, bottom half teams, that's not going to hoodwink supporters.
Yeah.
It's not going to all of a sudden get them on side. We'd have to do something majestic in the Champions League, and that's unlikely to happen. The whole thing, it begs the question, what was in the mind about going there in the first place, right? He was in the perfect scenario. The fact that he wanted to get out and away from one of the best places that... Listen, every man and their dog's trying their best to get to Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Yeah.
And he couldn't wait, it seemed, to get out, just to get out of the shadow of Lionel. I mean, what does that tell you about him? So the whole thing has been... Well, it's been pretty bad for him, but I tell you what, it ain't been great for PSG. It really has not.
How great would it have been for Neymar, not just now, but in 10, 15, 20 years, if he had gone to PSG, been the player that we know he can be, and taken them to a Champions League? I mean, what a hero. Now, it's just a clown.
Percentage-wise, Jules, obviously Real Madrid are still very much in the hunt as well. How would you divvy it up between them and Barcelona and the likelihood of which club Neymar will go to?
It's interesting. At the end of last week and even on Monday, I thought Real Madrid were in a very strong position because Florentino Perez, who's had such a very strong relationship with the Neymar family, for the last 15 years, really, and was so close to signing him, and then for various reasons that we're not going to talk about now on the show, but it didn't happen, and instead he went to Barcelona. But I really thought Florentino, who is desperate to sign Neymar, far more than Zidane, and we'll talk about that a bit later, but I thought they were in the driving seat. And the meeting yesterday and the fact that Barca sent that delegation to Paris to start the negotiations, and Messi and Piqué and those players putting pressure on Bartomeu to make that deal happen, I feel now that Barca are back on top, really, and he feels that if they're really serious, and it looks like they are, and they really want this deal to happen, then they exactly know what they have to do to make it happen. And I think that there's still 2 weeks to go. They definitely can make it happen.
You mentioned Zidane. Obviously, yesterday we talked about the article in El País saying that he is not happy whatsoever. The promises that he was given whilst negotiating return back to Real Madrid have not, for the moment, beared any sort of fruit. He could walk out.
Yeah. I read the piece and I watched the show as well. And this is not who he is, though. He doesn't walk out like that. He knew that this summer was not going to be easy. He knew exactly how hard it would be to try to sign Paul Pogba from Manchester United. He's not stupid. He knows very well how difficult it is to make that kind of deal happen. But he got a lot of the players that he wanted at the start of the summer. And, the likes of Hazard and Ferland Mendy, for example. And, that's very much his signings. For Pogba, that's true. That's the one that he hasn't got yet. And he knows he's not going to get him now. It's too late. And United are not going to let Pogba go without being able to replace him. So, that's the issue he has with Florentino, who really promised him Pogba and said, we will make that happen, and he didn't make it happen. So on top of that, the preseason has gone really, really bad. The players are not playing well. We're not even sure what kind of system he's going to play. There's no dynamic to the team, and La Liga starts this weekend. So you could see why things are pretty gloom right now in Madrid.